Hello everyone, I'm Margaret Okocha Bioma and it's a delight to have you here. This YouTube video it's the part 2 of the data analysis training we had on the 11th of May 2024. We covered data analysis training using SQL. Yes, we had Silva Wuche come volunteer to train us on data analysis using SQL. So this part 2 covers an overview of using SQL. Then we dived into creating relationships, creating the primary key, an overview of the basic and intermediate parts of SQL. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video with someone in your network. There is so much value to be gained from this training. I can assure you. The data set is on the description. You could check out the part 1, this particular video, and look out for the part 3 of the training. And by the time you're done, you're having an overview of what SQL is all about and also a project to show that you actually went through this training. Please share with your network. So let's dive into the class.
All right, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, this is the file. This is the MySQL. MySQL. Let me copy this so that if I don't know if I did not save it, I did not lost it. Okay, let me start. Okay, I already have an existing connection, so I'll be using this. Okay, I did not lost it one. All right, so this is what it looks like when you get to this interface. This is my workbench, my SQL. Okay. So this area is for your schemas. I have just one. This one comes with the system, with the workbench. I have this one here already. So these are the schemas. If you see, there are two tabs here. These are for management, like trying to control the access and every other thing on my SQL. Maybe somebody wants to access your connection, you give them access. This is like administrative part of it. Okay. This is the file, just like your Excel, but I think this one has to do with this one is database. This is a model. When you create a new model, I think we do that too. There is one when you want to, maybe you have an already saved script that you've already written, like your what you've already done, and you save it and you want to open it. This one is opening recent ones. These ones I've done. If I want to open it, I'll just go here. Then this to run normal, to run your SQL script. This to save. So this is the maybe to format your SQL, find just a normal this thing like your Excel too. Sorry. Okay. So there was a time I was having issues trying to. Is it a very large script to insert tables. So I use this to, let me say, change the time. Okay. Okay, change the time and how my SQL runs. Because sometimes when it gets to that connection, there, there's a particular time to just time out. Your query will just hang, especially when you're running a very long script. Okay, this is for appearance and how you want your font and all that to look like, colors. Okay, this is the view tab. Okay, this one provides the home. Okay, okay, I think this one is just about the appearance of your MySQL, then the query. Okay, this is like you're already running a query already. And sometimes but there are also shortcuts. That's why I don't really use all this stuff. You understand? There are shortcuts I actually use for most of these stuffs here. That's why maybe most of them I don't even know them. Like this one, I think execute or selection. Let me say when you execute this just for this, like exactly this one. I think this, yeah, this is for it. Then this one is just for under the query you're trying to run. Okay, limit rows is still here. So most of these things, there are shortcuts to it. Okay, the database is more like connecting to your database, manage your connections and different databases. Then here, this is where we'll be doing our relationships, like to build the model. Then schema transfer, when you want to transfer a database, and all those advanced stuff. Then this is your server. Sometimes your server, when you get to know this, when your server is having issues, you have to learn all this. Okay, I don't really go into all this stuff actually because they are more advanced stuff. All right, and these are more advanced as you can see. All right, so let's create our database. For me, most of the time I use these tabs here. This is in menu, I'll call them, to do my work instead of writing most of those queries, because when you do them it's easier. SQL will just generate the query for you. So we're going to create a database. We're going to use this like a column. Is it a cone? Abi, what is this database
Cylinder,
picture here?
cylinder shape.
Cylinder, yeah. So what we're going to name our database, um let me just say e-commerce or product. I just use e-commerce commerce data. Okay, I'm using a small letter because that's how my SQL will write it. Okay, as you can see, it actually created the database for me. This has to create it when you're writing the query. Okay, then you click on apply, then finish. All right. These are what our database. We have created our database now. Okay. So now we have to import because if as you can see, there are no tables here. If there would have been a drop down, like this drop down arrow will still be here to show our tables. We don't have views. Okay, let me just say this database now. It comprises of tables. These are different easy components of a database. We have the tables, we have the views. The tables are like the one we are going to put in to work with. Then the views are more like an should I call it an imaginary table that you created out of your actual table. It's like a virtual table that you created out of your own table. If you don't want people to, if maybe you're trying to present or you're trying to do something and you don't want them to see your real table, you create it and store it as a view. You save it as a view. When you save it as a view, it goes here. So when you're trying to show, maybe you're trying to show your boss, or that's the table that you will use to that is the one you've created out of these tables here. That you save it to these views. That's what you want people to see. And another thing that it's not like a CTE or a temporary table that maybe when you finish, when your connection is off, or it will it will not show again. This one is always there because you save it as a view. It's not like we have temporary table also have a CTE. When you've run your query or when you're out of that section, those ones disappear, but the view, you actually use that table anytime you want it. So that's the difference between creating a view and maybe having a temporary table out of these tables. Then we have the stored procedures. It's like um, saving something and you don't want like automating your query. That's just what it is. You just store your query and when you want to call it, you just call it. That's what it is. So all of them are inside this database. These are the components of that of a database. Then functions like maybe you're trying to create your different functions, you save them here. Okay, so we are going to import our table into this database. Okay, to do that, you're going to right click on the table. Then you're going to you can actually create a table, then use the import wizard. But we'll not be doing that because that will take a very long time to start creating a table and putting the columns. As you can see, the customer table has very long columns. So we'll be doing this simple one. So use the table, use the import wizard to import the table. So it's we'll go to the file part. This is where we saved what we've already done. The data set we've already cleaned. As you can see here, the table data import allows you to easily import CSV and JSON data files. So you cannot import the the Excel worksheet. It's not worksheet, the Excel workbook. So it's only CSV. That I had to save it differently as a CSV into a CSV file into a folder so that we can actually import it one by one. So we're going to import it. Okay. Okay, this is it here. This is the other one we've not worked on. So this is the new one here. So these are customer details. So let's go over there and import it. Click on next. So this this is asking you use existing table. If you actually had a table, maybe I did create table, I would have seen my table here that I've created, then just import the details into the table. But now I'm telling you to create the table for me. So it's going to this e-commerce data to create another table for me. If I had a table in there, it will ask me. So I'll just click on it and maybe choose that table for you to put the data into. But now we're going to create a new table altogether. So we're going to, if drop table already, maybe the data that was, you go here and click drop table if exists. But it's always good to actually click on it because I know we don't really have, but it's always a good practice to click on it because move it and you see another it will just, I don't really know how to explain, but it's a good practice to always click on it. Okay, so this is it. These are field type. This is the customer table. These are the different fields that we have: the gender, the customer ID is text, is an integer, the age is an integer. So these are different field type. So if you want to change, you can click and change to different. There are different um, data type you can change it to. So leave it as it is. Then click next. Click next. So wait while it imports the data into MySQL. Okay, if it's a very large data, most times it takes a very long time. But I don't think this one will take a long time to import. Okay, it's importing. Okay, we just have to be patient. Please, if you have any question, okay, we finish. So we put click on next and finish. So we go here, we right click and refresh. You can see refresh this arrow here, these two arrows there. You can use it to also imported the customer details. Let's take a look at it. It here. Okay. So the next one will be importing another table here. So we're going to do the same process and the same thing we did the first time. Browse to the same MySQL e-commerce. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask. If you have any question up to this point, you can ask. Okay, it's finished. All right. Refresh. Use our second table before the last one.
Please, if you have any questions, please you could either drop it in the inbox or you raise your hand. So please, are we following? I need those thumbs up. I want to know if we're on the same page with Coach Sylvia. Hello, everyone. Okay, yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're waiting for the last table to import. All right. All right. Now we have our three tables here. Okay, let's look at the other one.
Okay, so Coach Sylvia, please, can you run us through because to call a table, we use the select all from. So can you just explain most of those queries like the select, the where, the from, um
Okay, I'm just looking at, yeah, we'll do it actually. I'm just looking at each one if it actually imported correctly.
Okay, thank you. Then the reasons why we have to use underscore and all that um in between a
Yeah,
particular
okay.
text. Thank you.
Yeah. This query, okay, let's run the customer details first. Okay. To to first of all, before you use a database, as you can see, we've not actually selected any database here. So when I try to run, let me say I try to select maybe I want to check my customer details. Yes. When you want to retrieve an information from your database, you use the select statement. To retrieve all the columns, you're going to use this asterisk here. Or I want to maybe, okay, let me just start with this. We are trying to, I want to retrieve every information on my customer details um, table. These are the three tables we've imported. I want to retrieve the details here. So I'm going to use, yeah, here, right? Customer underscore details. Oh, sorry. Select everything within this asterisk from which table. I want to retrieve it from the customer details. Okay, when I run this, it's it's giving me an error. Why? It says I don't know if you can see here where my cursor is. It says no database selected. So I have to select a database. Either you're going to write, okay, use which database are we using? We're using the e-commerce database. This is our database. Okay. I want to use the e-commerce data. Sorry. These are databases I want to use. I want to start working on this with this particular database. Then use it. If you don't want to use it, you can just put the name of the database in front of your table and put a dot here. Then you run it. It worked, right? But it's not every time you'll be putting. It's very will I say it's very tedious and tiring to be putting, and it's very confusing like this to be putting your database always in front of your table when selecting when you want to retrieve an information. So either you do the use e-commerce data, like you use the use statement, then your database name, then now we've selected it. As you can see, the e-commerce is now bold. So you actually start working with this data set without putting the database in front of table names. Or the next thing we can actually do, if you don't want to write this use statement, you can double click on it. Okay, let me double click on this one. I double clicked on this other database and it showed it's bolded it. So I can start using this one. Let me go back to double click on the database. So when I double click, it selects the database without me using the writing this use statement. Okay. All right. So now we are trying to we selected everything from our customer details from the customer table. Okay. Now look at the mistake. I actually purposely did it. So that we're going to change this. My SQL doesn't, okay, let me say I want to retrieve let me see. I want to retrieve just review rating from, I just want to retrieve this particular column, review rating from this table. I just want to see the review rating, just one particular column. So I will go with, I won't do this asterisk. This asterisk to retrieve every information. When you just want to maybe leave one or two, you just call You just write the column name each and separate it by a comma. Let me say I want to retrieve customer ID. Look at the cost. Okay, there is a telling sense here. Comma. You put a comma. I want to retrieve customer ID and review rating. Then review. Look at review rating. When you put it, MySQL uses this IntelliSense to know what you want to do, and you just press your tab key. So when I want to do this, let me run it. I'm getting an error because MySQL doesn't understand. He doesn't understand a space between in a column header. Let's go back again. Okay, as you can see, this customer ID, it has to be together, or there should be, let me say, an underscore, like what we did before we imported the other tables. Let me check from that one. Selecting. Let me import from. Let me select from products. Okay, these are products. As you can see, I already did this. I already put this thing when I was in it in Power Query, if you can remember. So when I do the unique ID, it's running, right? Because there's no space in between the text. So my SQL doesn't understand a space. It will tell you that it doesn't know the column. So that's why I actually did that before importing it. I actually did it on those other tables, but I did not do it on this one. As you can see, it doesn't understand. It doesn't understand this item purchased. It will give me error if I try to retrieve information from this particular column. If I also try to retrieve from this particular column, it will give me error. Okay, let me try to retrieve from age and category. I want to select age, comma. When you're trying to retrieve, you always use a comma after each column name. As you can see, it's actually retrieved the information. But when there's a space, it doesn't. So to change it here in my SQL, we'll go to that this is the table, the customer details table. We'll go here. You click on this two icon here. This two icon. When you click on it, it takes you to this. You can change whatever you want to change here about your table. You can insert the primary key. So we'll be doing all that here actually. So to do that, you click on each one that will see that it's like that customer ID. You can actually do this with a query, but I think here is easy for me because I don't like stressful. So I've put an underscore in between customer and ID. Then I'll go to apply. This is the query that you would have written if you wanted to use a query to change it in order table and all that. Okay, then apply. Look at it has done it for us. Then go to the next one. This is item purchase. We'll do the same thing. Purchase amount, same thing. No space. Um, okay, review rating. Subscribe. subscription status, shipping type, discount applied, promo code used. Let's join these two together. Please, if you don't understand up to this point, just let me know, please. Previous purchases. Payments method. And frequency of purchases. Okay, we are done. So we'll do a refresh. All right. So now I will try to, let's do it again. Selecting everything so that we'll see everything there. Okay, now when we try to do the customer ID, want to retrieve information from the customer ID column and the review rating. It now works because now it's actually understand that okay, this is a column. There's no space, so we should take note of that. All right, so that's that. So now we're going to be creating relationships between these tables. Most time it's not necessary, but I think we really have to understand tables before working with them, especially when you're doing a join. So you know how to when you're filtering your tables, you know which one is coming from which one. So it's a very good practice to understand table, your tables, how they are connected to each other. If it's a one-to-one relationship, if it's a one-to-many relationship, it's a very good practice to understand it before you start analyzing your data. All right, to do that, we're going to be using there are actually two ways to do it. We can use my SQL statement, or we can do it manually here, clicking this thing. So to put relationship, to create a relationship between these tables, we'll go to the we'll right click on, sorry, we'll right click on this table, the table we want to create the relationship on. This is the first table, customer table. You go to alter table. This would have been much easier actually if you use let me say you're writing a SQL query. I'll still show you that. All right, you can change your table name here. Maybe we want to change this table name. Okay, let's change it. So you're going to see let's just put it customers. Then you go to apply. Okay, this is what you would have written if you're supposed to, maybe you want to write a SQL query to change your table. This is the query would have written, the alter table. But most times I don't like writing queries, especially these simple ones that these things can do for me. So maybe if you wanted to maybe alter your, maybe change your table name, these are the command you write: alter table, the table name, the alter table, the what's it called? This is the database name dot the customer details. You're renaming it to, you put still you're renaming it to this particular database. This is what you're renaming it to, customers. Then we click on apply, click on finish. As you can see, it has changed here. We've renamed our table to customers from customer details. Okay, now I want to create a relationship. So this table doesn't have a primary key. Before creating a relationship, you have to understand the difference between a primary key and foreign key, because that's how you're going to create relationship between two tables. Do you understand? A table must have a primary key before you, and actually a foreign key to, is it, let me say, reflect, or the two tables must have a particular column of the same type, so that it can actually, you can actually merge them together. So on this table, the I think the best column to create the primary key will be our customer ID column, because it's a unique column. And when creating maybe when you're trying to create a primary key in SQL or any other either Excel, whatever, it has to be unique. Like, this is what they can identify this particular person as. That's what the primary key means. Sometimes you can add two tables together, two columns together rather, to generate that primary key. Like, I'm trying to identify my customer. If we use the age column, the age, there are different persons that can be 22 years, there are different persons that can be 23 years, so it's not a unique identifier. So it's actually right to understand the unique column of that table and give it a primary, give it to the primary key. So I think the customer ID table, let's go back to check how this table looks like first. I'm selecting all again from customers. Sorry, I'm not going to refresh. Customers. So I have to do a refresh so that to come up here. So okay, as you can see, this table, this column here, this is the customer ID. This customer ID one, he's 55 years. He's a male. He purchased this blouse from this category. This is the amount he purchased it. This is where he stays. This is the size of the blah blah. These are all, we are trying to understand this particular customer one. Do you understand? Then this customer two is 19. We can also have, okay, let's say we can also have customers that are still 55 years. So let me say we want to use this age as a primary key. There are different customers that will be 19 years. There are different customers that will be 55 years. And when we try to use it, I don't, it's not right. You have to use a unique identifier like this one. This number one, we know that yes, he's 55 years, he's a male. This is his number one. Then we'll go to number two. This is his unique number two. Like, it's like when we're in school, our matric number is forever. That is it. That is your number that they identify you as wherever, even if you've passed out of that school for many years. Once you call that number, they know that it is you. They'll go and bring your details. That is how it is. A unique number. So these are unique number, unique ID for this particular table. So you're going to click on the primary key here. Then another thing in MySQL, in SQL, the primary key has to be non-null. Like, non-null means there has to be a data inside that column. every row has to be filled with a data in that particular column. It doesn't have to be empty. It doesn't have to be an empty column. Like even if it's one row, it doesn't have to be. It won't be empty. Every row must have data inside. So when we click this in on null, so when we're trying to maybe insert a when we're trying to insert another information, maybe we have a new customer. Let me say customer 100. If we had maybe 99 customers, we are trying to impute customer 100 into the database. This first column is telling us that it has to be 100. Like it has to this the 100 person you're putting have the okay, how am I going to explain it? It doesn't have to be null. Like there's supposed to be 100. You don't have to maybe start putting an age, size, and all that without putting a unique identifier to that particular person. So you have to give that person a number. So that's what this not null means. So when you try to impute a data into this particular database or this particular table without putting the primary key and you run it, it will give you an error. There has to be a value in each row. That's what it means. So click on apply. Okay, if I wanted to write a query, this is what I would have written also. This is what I would have written also. Alter table, not null. This not null means it has to be there has to be a value in that particular row. If not, the database will not accept it. Click on apply, finish. So now we have a customer ID is the primary column. Okay, let's go to the on the commerce table. You click on the toolbox, the tool icon. Okay, here another thing too. I know as analysts, some of these big companies, you just have to analyze data. You don't really have to. You don't even need to do all these primary keys, but you have to understand. But you're not the one that will be, doing it from scratch. But it's good to understand the primary key and the foreign keys of your tables. So another thing that this user ID and product ID is to understand the table that you're using and what it should be used for. That's when you're going to maybe put a primary key constraint or on that particular table. Let me say a product ID is also a unique identifier, but it's not because you saw the ID, but this is not a product table. Depending on the kind of table and what it entails. Like let me say, for example, this e-commerce table now, what does it mean? What does it mean? Is the user ID, is it unique? The product ID, these are what you have to check for before you actually start putting maybe a primary key or so. Now we'll go and check it again. We're checking from e-commerce. Let's see how the data set looks like. Then we'll know which column to put our primary key. Okay, this is our e-commerce data set. Okay, there's the user ID. User ID 1, the product ID. If he purchase, if he purchased this item or he viewed, this is the date this user came to this maybe if it's a site, this is the date he came to this site. He User ID 1, he purchased this product. This user ID 2, he viewed this product. User ID 3 liked this product. I think this data set is not really It's not really complete actually, but we just have to make do with what we have. Okay, for this, I'm sure the user ID column will be like the unique, because as you can see, each user, they are all unique values. Like each person will have one, two, three, four. No, it's not repeating. It's not repeating. There are some data sets you will see like a user. We'll see user ID one, user ID one again, user ID one. Let me say hello. Okay, let me say this user ID one, he purchased this particular item. There are some data sets, so you just understand before you start putting primary keys on your tables. Let me say we have user ID one, like three or four. User ID one will not be a unique will not be a unique data a unique column to put your primary key, because it's like it's not really a duplicate. Because why I won't call it a duplicate, because let me say the first time he entered the first time he visited this store, he purchased. The second time, it's still him that came up. The second time he visited, he viewed. So it's not a duplicate value, but we are not going to be using, we will not use it as a primary key. Maybe we'll be using the product ID. If this was, let me say, duplicate, this first column was duplicate, we'll be using, let me say, the product ID if it is unique for the for the table to use as a primary key. So we'll be using this user ID. So I'm trying to let you understand how primary key, why it's actually necessary, number one, and the particular type of columns you should be using it on. So for the user ID, that's what we'll be using for this e-commerce table. So we'll click on the user ID. You see the same thing, not no, it must be filled. Okay, same process. Then the last one is our products. Still click on the, so we've not started though, so we're just trying to arrange our table. So this one now, I think this unique ID, we should change it to product ID for this particular data set. So first this first column now, the product ID that we just changed, is the unique identifier of this product name. We might have different product names. We might have Omo. Let me say it's an Omo shop. We might have Omo. Okay, let me use area. We have, or wow, we have wow, the small one. There is still wow, is the product name. We have wow, the big one. We have the medium. We have wow for washing material clothes. But we have to give each of these wow the, a particular item number or product number, so that maybe when somebody buys it, we will know that okay, this person bought medium or whatever. This particular one is unique to that. Even if there have been 101,000 wow in that thing, every wow must have a particular a particular ID, a unique identifier for each one. So another thing we are going to have an issue with this, my SQL actually, sorry, okay, SQL don't accept text as primary key. This is a text value. It doesn't accept text as a primary key. Do you understand? It doesn't accept text as a primary key. So before we're going to use um this particular column as a primary key, we're going to change the data type to either in integer or character. MySQL doesn't accept text value as a primary key. I don't know why. So we're going to change it. When you want to change it, you go here, You click on this down arrow here. We're going to change it. Okay, let's see how this data, the first one, looks like before changing it. Okay, this is the product ID. This is should be character. We have numbers in there. We have letters. So this should be Baka or character. Baka varying characters. That's what it means. So this is it. We can use a VACA. This is what VACA means, like a varying type. These are different data types. As in, if you really want to go into this, very, very important to understand most, or like this ones now. But at least the most important ones, like this one, the character, or this one's Jason. So let's use this. So when we use this character, or okay, let me use the virtual character, varying characters. Let me say how many. There are many, so we need to input, like we need to tell MySQL, okay, this is how many characters that should be inside this particular data, this particular column. It's not like int can carry as many, integer can carry as many. These are different data types and different ways it works in MySQL or in SQL generally. So let's say we can include, this is up to, let me just use 50. It's not up to 50, but let's just use 50. Okay, it's did the same thing. We're using a variant character of 50 characters in it. If maybe I'm trying to put, let me say a new product comes in and I try to give it a new identity, maybe a new number, and I put a number above this, it will not accept it. If I start going into this variant character and all that, will take most of our time. Okay, right, finish. All right, so we now have our primary keys for each table. So let's now create the relationship. Okay, so I think I wrote this down to the different relationships that I can create, like the customer ID for user ID. This is confusing. Okay, let's go. But actually see it here. Let me just finish this. Okay, whatever you want to do, you just go, you can go here. So when you look at this place now, these are the columns. This is where these two that I these two icons that I clicked on to take you to this place. With this place you can do as many things as anything. You can create your indexes here without writing a single query. You can also create your foreign keys. So we'll be creating our foreign keys now. We'll be creating our foreign keys to each for the particular this is how we're creating our relationship. Sorry. So the foreign key name. This is for our customer table. Let me open the customer table. Okay, our customer ID is it's the unique ID for this particular table. So when we go to foreign key, no, we'll not be creating it on this table. we'll be using the e-commerce table to create the relationship from it to the customer table. So this is how we're going to do it. Okay, this is the user ID. It's if you check the user ID, it has the same. If you check the user ID, it has the same like 123 as also the customer ID too. So I think that would be a very good way to create relationships between them. Okay, another thing that you should take note is when you're writing a query, when you stop at the end of the query, let me say for this, for example, this first query I did select everything from e-commerce table. I'm going to a semicolon to tell my SQL that I've stopped here. I'm starting another query. You understand? Because especially in this MySQL, if it was Postgres, I don't think it does all those stuff. But MySQL must put this semicolon at the end to tell them that to tell it that you've stopped your query have stopped this particular place. Okay, let's run this. As you can see, this one is 123. I'm just assuming that it's the same thing. If it was my company, I will know the relationships. I will know what each column represents. But this is just a data set we saw online. So let's assume that this customer ID and this user ID, they are the same. So we'll be creating a relationship between these two tables using this user ID. I'm just showing you a way to, you can actually do it when you want to join. What is important, what I want to do, because I'm going to show you the ER diagram so that you're going to understand how it works. If you wanted to join maybe joining the tables, there's no need of creating all this. We would have just written a join statement to do that for us. But most times it's important for you to understand if it's a very large, like let me say you have up to 50 tables you're working with, you have to understand how each table relates to another one. Okay, so we'll go back to our e-commerce table. Then we'll go on foreign keys. We want to create a relationship here. So the foreign key name on this table will be user ID. It's going to reference customer ID, customers table. Then which column? The user ID column and the customer ID column. So actually what I did here is this is our foreign key. This is the e-commerce and the e-commerce table that has the user ID. So we are trying to create a relationship between this user ID column in our e-commerce table to the customer ID column on the customer table. So we are referencing this will
Sorry,
reference.
sorry to cut you, Coach Sylvia. Our call will be ending in 2 minutes. Please let's join the other link. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
all right. All right.
Coach Sylvia, please, you can present. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it is loading.
Okay. All right. So I was trying to create relationships. This can actually be done with a join. Do you understand? If it was in Excel, we would have still done it, but not like this. We have just dragged and drop. Okay. So click on apply. So this is actually the query we would have written if we wanted to if we wanted to write a query to do this for us. This is the thing we all have written. It's actually easy to write it, but yeah, it's just the simple ones. I find a way to do it using clicks. So it says alter this database, this table on this database, add a constraint, foreign key, referencing this customer ID. This I mean what it's trying to say that this customer ID, this customer ID and this user ID, this table should be referencing this column should be referencing this one. Like they are the same thing. Let's just see. We're trying to create a relationship between the two tables. Okay, let's apply. Yeah. So the next one we've created between the user ID and the okay, the next one is creating between product ID and the okay, let me see. So we're creating now between this product ID here and the product ID table. Do you understand? So now we now have to create a relationship here. Also, we have to remember we changed. Sorry, remember we when we were doing this. Let me do it. Let me show you something. This product ID here is a primary key. So if you are trying to create a relationship between this product ID here to this one here, that means you have to also change this data type too. Telling you okay, they are the same thing. Do you understand? I'm just assuming they're actually the same thing, which I don't really know. Okay, let's change it. Isibacha 50. So that they will be the same thing. Apply, apply. Okay, now we can actually do now we are seeing that these two columns are the same. As you can see, they are now the same things. So we now have to create the we now have to create the relationship. So we'll create another relationship, foreign key name, product ID, reference table. We are referencing into the product table, product ID on the product ID on this particular table. Okay, the same thing that it wrote for us. How did it add? Okay, set index, apply, finish. Okay, now we now have our relationship. So now to check our AR diagram, yeah, to check our relationship that we've actually created. Now let's see if it's correct. So go to this database, like I was saying, this menu bar should be the right name. It was everything happens to our database. This is where you can actually find it, do whatever you want to do. So when you want to check your ER diagram, you go to here, you go to reverse engineer. This is actually advanced, but let's just see if what we did actually worked. So just click next, next. So it's asking us to select the schemas you want to include. We're trying to check e-commerce data. That's as the schema, the database you're working with. Next, next. Okay, yeah. Next. Okay, spacing our objects. Next. Finish. All right. So these are tables. So let's check if we actually created the right, actually did the right thing, because we are doing it blindly actually. So these are AI diagram. Maybe you're working on with a big company, or you have like 50 tables you're working with. This is where you come and check what you're doing. Do you understand? This is where you have to come and check like your different, how your tables relate to one another. Like if they are one to one, if they are many to many, you just have to come and check it here. So that when you're doing your analysis, when you're running queries, you understand your results. Because most time you run a query and you think it's correct, it will give you a number and you think it's correct. Most times it comes from your relationship, your relationship between your tables, especially when you have different tables you're working with, not on a particular table. You write a query and it runs successfully, you give you a number, you think it's correct. Most time not correct. Is depending on how your tables are related to one another. The results that's how it brings out results. Okay, so these are customers table, these are primary key here. So we created a, as you can see, we were trying to create a relationship between this customer ID to this user ID in the e-commerce table, because we're thinking that maybe because it's the same data type and the same value, they might be the same. So you see this diagram here, it means a one, this is, I don't know if maybe you can go and read about ER diagram, one-to-one relationship. Very, very important. It's very, very important when you're trying to relate with your tables. This is a one to, let me say a one-to-many relationship. This crop foot here means a many. This is a one-to-many. What this means is that in this customer ID, which what you're actually doing, I'm not sure it's actually correct, but I'm just trying to show you how you can create all this stuff, because it's not correct. If this customer ID here has just one unique ID for each customer and his age, you have number, and customer ID one has age. Then we'll go here. He's trying to purchase a product. This customer ID here, no, three different items at once. Do you understand? You might purchase three different items at once. That means here his user ID, which I said is not still correct, his user ID here will appear like three times for the three purchases he made. That's why he's saying that's what one-to-many relationship actually means. You're trying to connect this table to this one. When you're doing what's it called? Normalization. Yeah, when you're trying to normalize your database, all this has to come in place so that you not get wrong information. Like this now, it's not going to work for us because this is unique and our customer is only appearing once here too. So when we are trying to create a relationship, this should be one-to-one relationship, because when we checked our database, when we checked our data sorry, our table, when we checked our table here, this is the ID one. He appeared only one time here. When we come down to, we check customers, he appeared only one. So what this means is, if it was a real data set or an actual data set, what this means is that this customer here, customer ID one here, is the same person as this one here. He also purchased this product, this ID. He also did this at this particular day. This is a one-to-one. This is still his record. And also this is still his record. He doesn't have any other record on this table. Do you understand? So let me say should be like a one-to-one relationship, because it's like, let me say it's like a customer. It's just like we can actually just use put all this information on inside this inside this table too. It won't change anything because they're actually the same thing. So that's what I'm saying, that maybe this data set is wrong. You're actually doing this for learning sake. At least now you understand how to go about your your primary keys and foreign keys, how it looks like and all that. So there's our diagram again. All right. So this should be one to one, because our customer is just appearing one time here. A real one to many relationship, our customer will appear like 5 times, appear like 2 times, even if it's one. But as you can see, this is just a unique. This is just unique, and also this is just unique. So I don't think these tables are actually related to each other. There's no other, and there's no other column here to base on this table. So let's look at the product ID, if you can actually do something on it. Okay, so this product ID here is, let's say this would work like this is a unique product. The product name and all that is on this table. This is the website. This is where everything happens. This is like the fact table. This is where everything happens. Like this is where the customer comes to buy. This is where we do everything. This is information about our customer. This is information about our product. This is where both of them try to meet. You understand? So this our product ID here is a unique identifier for each product, like I said. So let me say, if a user might buy like 5 of this product, that's how we're going to get the product name. A user might buy, this is the product ID, is referencing this one here. As you can see, as I clicked on this will I call it rope, abi what, I don't know what to call it. My head is just blank now. As I clicked on it, you can see the relationship between it. This product ID is referencing this one here. So this is a one. We just have one unique product here, and we can have as many products ID, because a user can buy as different. You can buy different product IDs. Do you understand? He can buy different products with that particular product ID. So this is a primary key to this foreign key in this particular product ID can appear different. Please, if you don't understand, you can just hit me up. Let me. Hello.
Hello, hi, it's Coach Sylvia. Okay, so the question I wanted you to help us elaborate more on the joining, because I know as a result of the joining too, we create relationships. So I know there is inner join, outer join, and all that. Can you just align it together with this relationship modeling and relationship parts? Let's just understand how we join in different tables to get a relationship. I think I'll be asking same questions for other people too that are here. If that's the case, if you have personal questions before we go into answering some of the questions we have to answer with the data set, you can send an in message, because this is very important. This is a very important part of this class. So thank you.
Okay, like you have the different types of join. We have the inner join, which is every information here. Okay, let me use this one. Let me say we're using the inner join. I think it's somehow advanced. We're using an inner join. Every information here, when we're joining on these two, because anytime we want to join, anytime I want to do a join, let's say I'm creating a relationship between these two, you can actually use a join to do it. When you're using an inner join, you are trying to join on the same, like every information that is here should be here too. Everything that is on every thing that is here should be also here. That is what inner join means. Bring everything that joins these two together. Let me say you're doing product and e-commerce, right? Okay. Okay, when we are joining on this is the column we are joining on, the two this thing. It's saying if this particular one, this particular what's it called, product ID is the same with this one here, is the same thing with this one here, bring everything. That's what inner join means. If this product is the same with the other one, bring everything that is in it. That's what inner join means. If you are joining on this product, if it is the same thing with this one, bring every column that is related. If this number 2 is the same thing with another number, maybe another number 5 here also, bring it. Anything that as you join it together, you will, how am I going to put it? Like, you should bring everything that is related to both of them. That's what inner join means. So meanwhile, a left join means we have different kinds of join. We have left, we have right, we have full outer join, we have cross join. Okay. So a left join here means, let me say we bring our product table first. We're still going to join on product. I want to connect to this e-commerce data. We're still going to join here because this is what brings them together. This ID now, this product ID is what actually joins them together. So let's join me when I call my product. Okay, I need product name. I need product name, and I also need the date this product was purchased. Then I join, and I join on this and I join it on, use a left join to join it on this table. What I mean is that give me every product name on this product ID, or on this product table. Even if they did not buy anything on that day, even if any product was not purchased on this date, the date might include no. Just give me everything on this product ID and give me date. Even if there is no date. But if it was inner join will show me both the date and everything that is the same, like everything that happened that day, everything that happened on that product, all the rows of that product, or that product name, all the dates that actually they actually bought something. It will not bring me the one that they did not buy. It will bring me the one that they bought something, like the date and the product name. Yeah. So that's what it means. Bring me, if it's a left join, it means bring me all the products, whether they bought something on that day, whether they did not buy the product, just give me. They're going to include nulls, null values. The same thing with right, it's just the opposite. Let me say interaction type and let me say category. It will bring everything interaction type and but it will still join on this particular IDs. That's the unique ID. That's the this is the foreign primary key and this is the foreign key to join, because these are the two columns that are alike. That is what it means. So we've joined our table. This is how an ER diagram looks like. This is our SQL model. When you're maybe creating a model, this is what it looks like. This is actually advanced, so we'll not be going into it. So here now, you can actually save this. Let me say it's like 100 or 50 tables. You can actually save it to as a PDF. You can just save it. Where is it save again? Okay, you can just save it here. Alright. Oh, you can actually export it as a PDF file, as a PNG, as a picture, so to be seeing your, maybe when you're doing something so that you just be looking at it and understanding how your tables are related. And also you have to understand these relationship types too. It actually helps. Alright.